Well, people are still talking about the White Lotus, right? I mean, you've got over 6 million people watching on Sunday night. Then you got the championship game on Monday. So a lot of people had to wait until Tuesday to get caught up. The numbers are nearing 10 million, and the critics are still largely unhappy. The viewers are piling in like they've never seen before. We're going to go and chat with one of the critics here from Forbes magazine, and then we've got the Karen Reed story covered. We've got a 30-year cop from the town where it all went down. It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, brought to you by LA Golf. Let's get rocking. All right, we are rocking on TuneIn and YouTube right now. Thanks for listening to Hot Mics with Billy Bush. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for that. Well, we're still talking White Lotus. I mean, we thought, who's going to die? There's one body that was going to be found. We ended up finding 2 bodies. 3 people died in the main cast, and a couple of bodyguards got shot. By my count, it's 5 bodies down in the White Lotus finale. But a lot of writers and a lot of people are saying that the season was, even though the viewership is up by 30%, that it wasn't the best season, that it was lacking in plot. It was, a lot of problems. I don't know. I'm not smart enough, I guess, to get into the weeds, or I'm easily entertained. I thought it was fantastic. We're joined right now by Erik Kain, senior contributor to Forbes magazine, who has an entirely different take on the finale, different than me. Erik, you look like a very discerning fellow right there. You got the beard going here.
I do. You got to have the beard so you can stroke the beard. You got
to. Without it, you can't stroke it. That's exactly
right. You can't stroke the beard,
Before we get to your thoughts on the finale, or the season overall, I mean, you wrote this. I'm afraid that the success of the first 2 seasons must have gone to Mike White's head. What a mess. What a waste of time. It seems all the worries that I wrote about last week have come to fruition and then some. Jeez, man.
I know. It's a little harsh.
Wow. But don't you look forward to it every Sunday night? Don't you get excited about Lotus is on?
Yeah. No, I've been really positive about this season, actually. I think I wrote, I've written a review of each episode of the entire season. And through episode 6, I was still very, very upbeat, very positive. And it was episode 7 where I started to think, I don't think all these storylines are coming together in a way that's actually very satisfying. And then last night's or Sunday night's finale just kind of, I don't know. I was really disappointed with it.
Oh, man. Sunday, I mean, see, episode 7, the penultimate, felt like a giant setup. It felt like we were, but I didn't have any clue. My prediction was that Gaytok was going to jump in front of a bullet because his girlfriend Mook keeps telling him, you got to be a man and you got to embrace violence and sometimes you got to shoot. And he was, I'd rather sit by a koi pond and, Mr. Peace.
Yeah. And
I thought he was, but he ended up being one of the disgusting people that kind of went with opportunity. Like Belinda, the 2 most likable people became went the more detestable route. Yeah, I like that.
I kind of liked Belinda's turn to becoming Tanya. I mean, she basically, like, her arc was to become the very same person who kind of crushed her dreams in season 1. I was less fond of Gaytok's transition because I didn't feel like it was earned. He was very concerned with his morality. He was so concerned with upholding that morality that he wouldn't even turn in Valentine and the Russian thieves because he was worried about hurting them. And then he ended up shooting a man in the back who he didn't know for sure was the shooter, who was carrying a woman in his arms who he didn't know was dead. And there we go. And I just think that turn, and then of course he gets the girl, he gets the promotion, he gets all the things that he wanted, but there wasn't really like enough character development there to sort of justify that turn for his character, and it felt very jarring to me.
Felt flat to you. Rick and Chelsea, my favorite couple throughout the whole thing. Goggins and Wood, terrific, but you say they couldn't save the show. I think they would, but they both went down very sort of poetic right there.
Yeah. Sure, it was very poetic. I think that was of all the storylines, I do feel like their storyline was the most compelling in the season, and it ended, in guns blazing and tragedy, and I felt very sad. It moved me. At the same time, I was bothered by the cliches, like the fact that Jim Hollinger was his father, right? I mean, that was so predictable. Everyone had predicted that, by the third episode or whatever.
Scott Glenn,
And
wasn't that the actor Scott Glenn?
Scott Glenn, yep. Who's great. I mean, he kind of looks like he could be Walton Goggins' dad, right?
Yeah.
But he, just to get to that point and have it all play out that way, I guess it just felt, well, it felt frustrating to me, but it also felt like it felt like all the stories were so disconnected this season in a way that in the previous seasons, and especially season one, which
Yeah, there
felt
was no
like all the
interaction
different,
between people. Very
yeah,
little. Well, Patrick Schwarzenegger was trying to get naked with
sure.
with everybody.
Right, right. Yeah, including his brother.
Well, his brother was. Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, I thought Patrick Schwarzenegger did a great job. I thought his acting, especially this episode, when he was looking out across the beach at Chelsea running into Rick's arms, and you could sort of see that he was feeling not jealousy, but like this loss of something he's never had, right? He's never had real
A
love. He's never had
normal,
that
loving
connection.
relationship
Right.
is possible for him, as you see that maybe it's not just all about getting off to porn
Right.
and wherever.
And hooking up and that the sort of empty hookup culture. But then he doesn't get to have any reaction or any sort of uh, catharsis or anything to do with Chelsea. She's dead and he's off on a boat, and it's like he doesn't even know it
Yeah, and he
happened.
kind of really liked her. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah, he
so.
liked her, and I think in a way, like, he still has her book on the boat, right? In a way, she connected with him that I think was that in a way that was more important than sex. It was more important than the things he valued, and yet he still doesn't get to have any sort of reaction or development around her death. And I think that's kind of a wasted opportunity. Same with the Ratliff family in general. We don't really get any sort of fallout from Timothy, Jason Isaac's character, from his fraud and embezzlement. We don't get to see Parker Posey react to him destroying their lives. And I feel like that's, we get to see them sitting on the boat, and that's it. It's and I know that like defenders of the show will say, well, it's ambiguous, and ambiguity is compelling in its own way. And sure, that's true, but like I wanted more. I think a lot of people wanted more from that family and kind of where they ended up.
It's amazing you're writing this for Forbes. It's a financial magazine. I mean,
Yeah.
they let you write about the White Lotus when, I mean, shouldn't you be writing about Sri Lankan, 44% tariffs and
Yeah, yeah, no, I should be writing about how the tariffs affect, TV production or whatever. Yeah, I've been writing at Forbes for 14, 15 years now. They cover a lot now. The publication since
yeah.
about 2011 really just expanded its coverage into a whole lot of areas. So,
You, you said the Gossip Girls stop gossiping for once. Again, the story of these three friends, which Leslie Bibb, Michelle Monaghan, and Carrie Coons. It's been interesting, but it was given more room to breathe. But like most of the subplots this season, it spun its wheels and went nowhere fast. You could cut all three characters from the show entirely and lose nothing. Now, I don't agree with you there.
sure.
I thought they added great texture. I thought this relationship, this awkwardness between them, I loved it. You know that this happens when there's three women, not two, three is the right
yeah.
number, and they just kind of, when one's out of the room, it's backstabby, it's gossipy, it's brutal.
Yeah, no, I think it was a really realistic portrayal of sort of the downfalls of female friendships in particular. I think it was, I mean, I think everything that was in their storyline was great. But I think that it needed to be its own show, basically. Like, I don't think that it fit with the rest of the story. I mean, they barely have any interaction with other characters. There's that one awkward scene between Parker Posey and Kate Bibb, and then there's, and Saxon tries to hit on them, and they interact with the Russians a little bit. But there's not really like a through line where those characters really matter to any of the rest of the plot. And then I feel like we kept building their story and building their story, and then they were like, okay, we need to wrap this up now. Let's just have Carrie Coon do a really good monologue, and that's it. Like I feel like
But
there
we
is a
didn't know
great
enough
story
about
about
her
these
home.
characters.
We didn't know enough about Carrie Coon's home life.
Sure.
A little bit more would have been. You never saw anyone at home. Maybe that like who is, the Trumper that is married to Leslie Bibb. Where is the younger actor that Michelle Monaghan is? We just sort of take the word for it, and then Carrie Coon's with this lawyer,
With
corporate,
her
miserable life.
divorce and her failed career
Yeah.
and her teenage daughter and like yeah, I mean all of that could have been fleshed out into something I think that could have been a really interesting story. I just don't think it fit here, and I think that like I'm not criticizing the way those characters were written or their interactions. All of that I think was done really well. But it's like they get to this point and then it's like, okay, we have to leave. So let's just wrap it up. And like now we're all friends again. And then they have to run away from there's another thing. They run away from this shooting, which was a pretty funny moment, actually. Like Carrie Coon's really booking it.
Yeah.
And then they're on the boat and everything's fine. Like, where's the whole like police investigation? Why is everyone leaving and waving and everyone's fine?
Another good point.
And instead of like what a more realistic
This is why you're the critic and I'm the fan, Erik
right.
Kain.
It's a terrible curse to be a critic.
Erik Kain of Forbes magazine, who's writing about the Lotus here. The one person Timothy doesn't mean to poison, Timothy Ratliff, the father who's, facing financial ruin. He doesn't mean to poison, ends up poisoning himself. The dumb, dim-witted, stupid, empty-headed little Lachlan, played by Sam Nivola, finds the blender in the morning, still goopy with the poison seeds from the forbidden fruit and bad coconut milk, and he decides, hey, instead of rinsing this out, I'll make a protein shake and drink it. Who does this? Who doesn't rinse out and ideally wash a filthy blender filled with milky stuff and what looks like dried hearts of palm? Yeah, that's a small thing, but I guess he can't almost die if he doesn't.
See, this is one of those things where I talk about plot conveniences, I guess. People will say, well, teenage boys are stupid, and they are stupid. They are very stupid. But I remember look at that blender. You don't get up in the morning and just mix a new shake in that blender. Like the only reason you do this is for a TV show to have something happen in it, There's no way like they could have, and this is one of those easy fixes. You have him sneak back out that night and do it, or I don't know. It just
I
the
think
whole
the
time
answer to
through
the
his
question,
death scene.
Erik, the answer to the question is the reason why he did is because remember Dad said you can't have a pina colada. Dad's original intention was he was going to poison the whole family
Right.
and they would die together in a full family suicide. But when he did that, he said to the son, you can only have a Coke. He wanted him to go on and be and have a life, but he wouldn't give him alcohol. So when the boy found the remaining stuff in the blender, he wanted alcohol. He wanted to numb all those painful feelings.
Okay, if I'm the teenage boy in this scenario and my mother has mentioned that there are like 6 bottles of wine in the cupboards, I don't drink what I have been told is bad coconut milk. I just open a bottle of wine.
Yeah, but then she notices you've opened a bottle. Now
they're
there's
leaving
5
that
and
day.
one's open, Erik. And Mom doesn't have her lorazepam, so she's paying attention now.
Yeah, she is. That's true. Man,
all right,
she handled that pretty well.
In
the loss
summation,
of her lorazepam.
Exactly. In summation, Erik, you write, this was the least satisfying, least funny, least shocking, least impressive season of the White Lotus so far. Had it been the first, I'm not sure we'd ever have gotten a second, let alone a third. Now, I want you to know Mike White has responded to you and maybe other critics, or maybe this is just to you. Mike said there was a lot of complaining about how there's no plot. That part I find weird. It never did. Part of me is just like, bro, this is the vibe. I'm world building. If you don't want to go to bed with me, then get out of my bed, Erik. I'm edging you. Edging. Enjoy the edging, Erik. If you don't want to be edged, then get out of my bed. Do you know what I mean? Don't be a bossy bottom, Erik. Get out of my bed. Don't come home with me. Don't get naked in my bed. Get the F out of my bed. Do you know what edging means?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh,
although we didn't
we
didn't get into edging in this season, just cucking. So
just cucking, no edging.
just cucking, no edging.
Well, there will
That's
be a
my that should be the subtitle for my article. Just cucking, no edging.
Oh my God. Well, listen, Erik, thank God there will be a season 4. Do you have
I
any?
agree.
They have a huge deal, $25 million deal with the 4 seasons, so we know it's going to be a great resort. Do you have any idea where this might be?
I've heard Egypt or the French Riviera, but that's just like rumor mill. Who knows?
Oh man,
Anywhere. It could be anywhere.
wouldn't you love to be?
I love the locations.
Oh, I'd love to be on the White Lotus scouting crew. All I know is Mike White and his crew are
Yes.
going to be feted somewhere beautiful.
Hey, Billy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Billy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so we brought this up last show, too, about where it's going to be. There's also a lot of talk about a snow, like one in the snow, skiing and stuff.
Oh.
This is out there.
Yeah, he
Just so you
said
know.
he said he's not going to do crashing waves. He said he's kind of over the crashing wave
Okay.
vibe. I'm not over it.
Aspen.
Aspen, yeah, there you go. Erik Kain from Forbes magazine. You're smarter than me. I think I was saying this is a great episode. Everything's perfect, and then you made some valuable points, and that's why you're writing for Forbes, and I'm just mouthing off. Thank you for your time, and we will let's stay in touch as we get going again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great
It was
beard.
fun.
Great beard, Erik Kain. There you go.